Today, I had an excellent example of how the community that I grew up in, the family that I grew up in, the places that I grew up in are in the condition, and the people are in the condition mentally that we find ourselves and their selves in now. What am I talking about? Why is it that when it comes down to money, property, or anything valuable, we can't seem to come together? Either we want it all, or we don't want anybody to get it. We either scheming, or either, we just don't care. Instead of working together as a family, we rather have it all by ourselves. Or we'll have our picks. And sometimes, although we love each other, we'll hate each other even more. But 1547 Sir, 4818 Savoy Court. These are two residences that I grew up in. I mean, the first one, I was a baby when I even got there. And actually, I tried to get involved in trying to make sure that the city, gentrification, or anybody but us, the people and their family, would try to get together to do something. And it probably made me sick, put me in the hospital. I don't know. I just know that I found it very difficult to deal with my family. And most of the time, I'll be honest with you, I'll give my sole opinion that I did not want to even deal with my relatives about anything to do with any kind of property or anything for the family. But my love for my grandfather and my grandmother, who did not play, that overshadowed anything. So I attempted. That was an unsuccessful attempt because, like I said, I found myself in the hospital. And so therefore, what you have to do sometimes is you have to save yourself. But this is happening all over, and it's been going on for far too long. And it's an example of conditioning. It's an example of how we were made to think, made to be. Even though we may have been the first people on this earth, and I'm not going to say may, we are. We have been made in America, African Americans, because although we could have populated this whole earth, then came our children and our children's children, and so on and so on. And what they did was worse than when you see somebody like an uncle or somebody in the family that misuses a child. Our children misused us. But nobody won't call it that. Nobody won't speak truth to power. But the only way that you can understand anything is to be truthful and recognize what power is on this earth and how they exercise it. And one of the ways that they did that was getting free labor and making, not asking, making people believe whatever they wanted them to believe by maiming, hanging, burning, raping, doing whatever it took and however they felt. And what did you produce? What did they produce? Octoroons. They produced people that looked so white, they were like Herbert Hoover. They were like Abraham Lincoln. They were even like the Obama. But nobody talks about it. You want to know why we are the way we are? Then you look at your child who came and put you in chains and see, we can't see the change now because even in our nuclear family, our children are being governed like they're the parents' friend. And when I came up, it wasn't like that. It was a strict line. Children weren't even allowed in a grown folks' conversation. The things that Europeans did to Europeans in Europe, which they did not populate first, they did it all over the land and are still doing it. But most of us are ignorant of our history, so therefore we will get a European education, a European mindset, and we'll take that back to wherever we are going, okay, then back to wherever we grew up, and act like we are so much better than the people that are still there instead of helping them out of their condition. We would much rather have them look up to us than to help them. All this has been strategically planned, and it is working to perfection. But getting back to what I want to say, why we don't have assets, land, houses, and things, is because that was strategically planned too. But more than that, after the European taking your land, farms, Africa, they took your mind and they turned that into a European mind that you only want for yourself. No more communal wanting for everybody. No more sharing except for the small crowd. You're not going to share with the whole family. You're just going to only share with your little part and the people that you decide to bring in. So therefore, we stop communicating with one another. Or I believe we never truly sometimes ever communicated. But yet and still, family is family, and I love it. But I love people sometimes from a distance, just like they've always loved me from a distance. And it's a shame that we have houses, land, farms, and all kind of things go right back to the people who mistreated you in the first place, made you made in America, Black American, but you want to call yourself Indian. You call yourself all kind of things. I came to tell people they don't make any more time and they don't make any more land. So whatever you got, hopefully you can overcome the things that happen, like in our family. You understand? Well, we got people all over, and it's kind of hard to even kind of get all these people together to make a decision about a house or sell something or do anything. And I surely ain't gonna let it put me in the hospital. Not again, even if it has that. So please, if you're older, put down and do trust, wills, whatever, and make sure that that property goes to somebody in the family. I even had a friend, before they would sell it to their own brother, they'd rather sell it to an outsider, because Sometimes we're so jealous of our own people, we'd rather give it to somebody else. We don't want nobody to have nothing but us. This is our community. Now, earlier I talked about speaking truth to power. But sometimes, if you don't know the truth, you can't speak the truth. And if you don't want to face the mirror, look in the mirror, you see a great man? Well, I'm going to tell you something. Some great men are not great men. Because although they may look like it to other people and have money and all kind of things, the character, the morals in that mirror don't lie.